magazines. AC is not working at all. And as usual, your TV screens are also not working. Neither this button for calling the
Look how old-fashioned that is. That's how airplanes are. You know, it's crazy. Like 90s technology.
Is this what you're providing?
I remember when I flew, I was like, what the heck? This is all old.
Worst airlines in the world.
I found two insane things in the India plane crash, and it's completely not what you expect. I mean, the probability has to be 1 in millions or even billions. So follow me on this for a second. We know there is one person on the plane who survived, who is in this seat right here, making it even more unlikely for him to survive. But there's also a lady who was 10 minutes late because of traffic and never got on the plane in the first place.
And how many minutes did you miss the flight by?
Now here was video right before the plane went down when the people on the plane were getting really worried. Of course, remember it crashed like within a minute of being in the air, but nothing on this plane was working.
AC is not working. Look at everyone. So many people, they are using these magazines. AC is not working at all.
So two completely separate different things. Really pay attention to this while I'm talking. So the guy that survived, something was telling me to Google this dude's name. This part is unrelated to what I'm saying right now. Seriously though. And I kid you not, I translated each and every of his 3 names and it translated to trust in the Son of the Lord. I kid you not. It had to have been a spiritual inclination for me to Google all those separate names, but also for him to jump out of the plane the second that he jumped out of the plane. As far as what happened to the plane and why it went down, I'm not getting into that. But the translation of his name to English is crazy. The Lord God the Father and His Son. Yeah.
How one man single-handedly destroyed America, and his name is John D. Rockefeller. Let me explain. So it all started when John D. Rockefeller established his first oil refinery in 1863, which we all know today as Standard Oil. His enterprise became the largest in the region within only 3 years. He incorporated the Standard Oil Company in 1870 and bought out all of the major competitors in 1872. This alone put him in control of 90% of all oil in the United States. Over the years, he accumulated a net worth of over $500 billion, making him the richest man in United States history. Now that y'all caught up on who this guy is, let's get into the dark stuff. And just remember, this is the same guy who once said, and I quote, "We will keep their lives short and their minds weak while pretending to do the opposite. We will use our knowledge of science and technology in subtle ways so that they never see what is happening. By using soft metals, agent accelerators, sedatives in food and in water as well as in the air, they will be covered in poisons wherever they turn. Soft metals will make them lose their minds." Around the time that Rockefeller seized the U.S. media, he also hijacked the pharmaceutical industry and took control of the education system. Once it was discovered that drugs could be produced from petroleum, America's top oil mogul, Rockefeller, after taking control of all the media, he instructed his propagandists to invert reality accordingly. So natural medicines used for thousands of years before this were now recognized as alternatives. The new petroleum-based highly addictive drugs were now recognized as the gold standard. So after buying out a German pharmaceutical company that manufactured chemicals of war for Adolf Hitler by the name of IG Farben, he then leveraged his political influence by pressing Congress to declare natural healing modalities as impractical. Rockefeller then took control of the American Medical Association, which is weird because this right here is their new symbol and it looks very similar to that. He then began to offer massive grants to all top medical schools under the mandate that only his approved curriculum be taught. Any mention of the healing powers of herbs, plants, or diet were all erased from modern-day textbooks. All doctors and professors who objected to Rockefeller's plans were all crucified by the media because he had control of the media, and then later removed from the AMA, then stripped of their license to teach and study medicine. Once word got out that his petroleum-based medicine caused cancer, in 1913 he founded the American Cancer Society to suppress that information. Notice the same logo. Coincidentally, this was the same year that they founded the Federal Reserve. Me personally, I don't believe in coincidences, but y'all let me know what y'all think down below in the comments.
I usually don't believe in this stuff, but the Japanese woman who's predicting a massive tsunami this July 2025 also predicted world events way before it happened. In 1992, she wrote that Princess Diana is going to, and then 5 years later, on that exact day, Diana passed. Then in 1995, she wrote again, in 2020, we're going to have a And then in April, it's going to disappear, but it's going to come back 10 years later. So mark your calendars for that one. Now she's predicting a massive tsunami this July 2025. And it's going to be 3 times bigger than the one Japan experienced in 2011. And it's not only going to affect Japan, but also the Philippines, Taiwan, Indonesia, and other places. Now, with all of these earthquakes happening, it's starting to feel a bit real. But what do you guys think? Coincidence or there's something more?
And this needs to be exposed immediately. A lot of people have come out recently, including growers themselves, trying to expose what's going on inside of the marijuana you-know-what industry. With the growers themselves mentioning how the growing process has apparently been altered. With growers showing their requirements as of lately of having to wear hazmat suits when apparently spraying the plants. Mentioning on many occasions of which I've noticed chemicals that are apparently very harmful and toxic. According to them, forcing the plants to grow larger buds and speeding up the growing process as well. Some of these hazmat suits of which they've been showing off that apparently they've been forced to use are kind of concerning. And coincidentally, throughout the last 6 months alone, I've been noticing a lot of people have a lot of reports. Majority of these individuals' ages ranging anywhere from 20 to even 50 years old and having 10 plus years of experience. Considering how lenient that our government has been throughout the last 2 years alone with the legalization process, I can't say that I'd be surprised. I mean, I had to personally quit well over a year ago. Yes, I've been 100% sober for over a year now. I am very proud of myself. But anyways, I noticed weirdly enough after 10 plus years that I started to get paranoid, and a lot of people started to blame me growing up for that. But then of course I started noticing it all around me and I just ignored it. Regardless, this is highly concerning if what they're mentioning is actually occurring in the industry. We all know how big pharma is, so I would highly recommend that you just stay aware of how you feel in the future. At this point in time, I would not put anything past our government, honestly. And when it comes to something like that, I mean, you never know.
The devil is not the devil. The devil is narcissistic energy.
Yeah.
And the energy is one energy. As in, they're all connected to narcissism the way that we are connected to God.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So
Like
I don't think...
Demogorgon.
Right, I don't think they can escape because they don't want to.
It's like empaths are born from the light, from heaven, from God. And then narcissists are born from the earth, from the devil, from narcissism.
It's attached to them when they come in.
Did you ever have the opportunity where you got invited and you said no to it?
Hell yeah.
What was the consequences when you said no?
Puppy invited me for weeks asking me to come and teach him how to, wanted me to be his acting coach for a while. Go there and he's sitting around just looking. I'm like, okay, what's the material you want to work on? He's just looking at me. Then next thing you know, okay, hey, will you help me? I want to hear your music. So I come over there and I play the music. And he's sitting there, just looking at me, like waiting. Okay. So then my assistant was like, he wants to hang out with you next week. And I was like, for what? He's like, I think he's trying to fuck you. That's what my assistant said. And I was like, oh, okay. Now I get it. So now no more communication. Now you know to be hands-off with somebody. A number of producers come in and make the approach, and you threaten to punch them in the mouth, or threaten to knock their head off for talking to you or looking at you like you're a woman. When you approach a real man about his masculinity, you're going to get a real reaction back. It's a difference when a guy walks in a room and when a man walks into a room. And a man don't take the same things that a guy will accept. So always be the man in the room. And that's always been my whole thing, and have lost businesses because I don't bend over in that way. I don't compromise. I don't play gay roles. I don't kiss a man. I don't do that shit because the man card means everything.
Want to see something really interesting?
Absolutely.
Sure. All right, look at this. We saw the new energy grid like 10 years from now. And we saw how it ties in zero-point energy, quantum computing, and artificial intelligence all into one system.
Meaning like they're all working together in unison.
Yeah, it kind of, I don't want to use the word singularity, but they merge into where they're all overlapping. We also saw something pretty bad.
What was it?
In the middle of all this high-tech and futuristic stuff, I saw a guy crawling around like a caveman in the mud.
That doesn't sound good. What?
They even have just found out the horrifying truth about the rat people in Pakistan. is actually really, really sad. So you may or may not have heard of the rats of Shaldola, often referred to as the rat children. These people with this, but it gets a lot more messed up because of how they look like this. So there is a deformation in the world which can cause your head to look like this. It is obviously very terrible, which is what some people do have. These people most likely born with it, and it's a terrible condition, but yeah. However, these people were forced to look like this. They most likely didn't before. These poor people are believed to be completely abused and controlled by people to make them look like beggars. Believed they're controlled by mafias in Pakistan, who basically dress them up, do these awful things to them, and tell them what to do. People are made to look this way, then dressed up, sent to the streets to look like really bad beggars, and as awful as it sounds, literally just collect money for these gangs. Well, this is the condition that can happen to you, but these people are forced it, so most likely they would have had a normal head shape before, and these people would put an extremely tight metal band around their head to essentially crush their skull inwards.
Wow.
Can you even imagine that? Leaving their head to become smaller, deformed, and people believe they're beggars.
Everybody knows Barry and the Jigga Man are very close. The kind of stuff that they do, it is real.
Can you repeat back to me what happens when we pass away?
Yes. When we pass away, the soul gently releases from the body. It's peaceful, like slipping out of a dream. There's often a moment of calm awareness, lightness, clarity, even relief. Then you're usually greeted by loving guides or familiar souls. They're there to help you transition, to remind you that you're safe and that you're not alone. Next is the life review. You revisit your life, not to be judged, but to understand. You feel what others felt through your choices. It's a moment of deep learning, wrapped in compassion. After that, you move into a soul realm, a space of rest and healing. There, you reconnect with your soul group, reflect on the life you lived, and remember why you came. And from there, your soul chooses what comes next, another life, a path, or simply deeper exploration in the spirit world. It's not an end. It's a return to light, to truth, and to the vastness of who you truly are.
Now can you repeat what happens before we incarnate?
Before we incarnate, the soul enters a sacred process, a kind of cosmic preparation. First, you meet with your spirit guides and soul family. Together, you review what your soul has already...
I grew up next to this guy who was illegally, not next to, but in the same vicinity of a guy who was illegally collecting jungle cats, bears, and whatnot. And he opened up all their gates and I had school canceled for 2 days because of wild animals.
I remember that story.
Yeah, it was right behind me.
No shit.
Yeah.
I mean, what a great prank, though.
Everybody was so afraid.
Yeah.
The animals killed him? No, he killed him.
So he's... Yeah, this guy had a bunch
Wait,
of...
was this the Zanesville incident?
That was the Zanesville incident, yeah.
Oh, I know the Zanesville incident.
Did you have school canceled?
No, I didn't live that.
Wild Animal Day hits harder than a snow day, I will tell you.
Yeah. So he had lions?
He had lions, he had like grizzly bears, there were like zebras, and the thing is, they were so used to, the police had to go, I'd imagine it was probably a fun day for the police, they had to go kill him.
Yeah, they had to kill them all.
You just go hunting.
Because you can't, like,
Fun day for the police. I would show up at the police and be like, guys, I've played so much Big Buck Hunter.
Yeah.
Safari.
Please.
Like, I've been training my whole life for this.
That would be a fun day as a cop. Yeah.
I think it'd be a fun day as
Do you think they only aim for the black parts of the zebra? Out of habit.
I would love to be a kid on Wild Animal Day. I think kids, you got to go outside. You got to sneak out of the house at some point, right?
I'm a born pussy. I would not. I stayed in.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Or did you at least like go to a window?
I did.
Yeah.
And I convinced myself I saw stuff. What's up?
If I do this, give them the signs that I'm good. Hey, y'all see me start taking pictures? They're like, oh shit, she giving them signs. I'm like, my eye. They be like, yeah, we got influence.
We got it. We got it.
Go get him.
That's how you get to the top, y'all.
Just every now and then.
Every now and then.
Every now and just.
Oh,
we got
okay. And they'll contact you.
Is that what Ice Spice was trying to do at the Super Bowl?
It's not a try. She did. She did. And you know what? And I don't care what nobody say because I'm always right at the end of the day when it comes to this stuff. She's an industry plant. It's common. You came from nowhere. Your little short... No. Girl. No. No. You just came from anywhere. And so is the other girl. Give me sweat. Whatever. Make me high.
Not Tyler. Come on, that sounds like just a little bitty girl. Damn, not Tyler.
One song gave you a Grammy. How's that possible? You walk right in, the song's still on the fucking radio hot. You got a Grammy. How do you do that?
That's true.
You know, we just didn't realize how good we had it growing up.
Yeah,
Even
wow.
though some of us went through the trauma, there's... if I can go back into this time in life, I would do it in a heartbeat. You know, life is funny, man. I miss growing up. Shit, I'm still doing it. Still doing it. Still growing up. But to go back to this era in my life, in our lives, all my millennials, even with all the trauma, even with all the negative, tell me you wouldn't go back. Tell me you wouldn't. Tell me you don't miss it. Remember how excited it used to be for the unknown? I feel like we lost touch with that instinctual reality. Growing up sucks, but there's beauty in suffering. There's this picture collage I'm showing you. You've all done this, especially if you are 40 or 30s. You've all went through this and didn't realize you were doing it. And when I look at these pictures, it's not so much the events that's happening, it's who I did these things with, who I learned what it was to be a man or to be an adult or to be myself. It's a long road and I'm still figuring it out. When I looked at this collage, it just made me appreciate. Back then I didn't realize where I was. And now I know to realize where I am. Peace, you guys.
Okay, so they are claiming that this is the first time in history that humans have ever orbited over the poles in outer space. Now I'm going to show you a bunch of different things, but first off, didn't they say we've gone to the moon and we're on the way to Mars? So forgive my skepticism, I'm just wondering why this would be the first time that humans were able to navigate above the poles from, again, outer space. Now, it's actually really interesting because a video surfaced a while ago showing something questionable, allegedly, in the North Pole. So sorry about the quality and the bullcrap people have on their screens. Now, this video surfaced years ago. I remember when it came out, and I do not believe it's been properly debunked. And it's showing a massive vortex in the North Pole. Now, you might also know of a massive vortex in the North Pole from Saturn, the wandering star, and also the inner Earth stories from Admiral Byrd, where his private journal said he went inside of the Earth. So the question is this legitimate? And even farther, let me show you this. These are allegedly all the satellites that are up in space or low Earth orbit right now as we speak. You can literally go to a site like I did and show them live, supposedly flying around. If this was happening, would we not have the most undeniable 4K video evidence ever? And lastly, look how fast these things are allegedly moving. They are flying. Millions of square miles covered in seconds. So my question is simply this: where is all this extraordinary technology that we have?
Our society is so fucked that a large popcorn and 2 large drinks at AMC. Literally, I can have a whole ass.
The planes crashing. What's going on? Why? All these planes out of nowhere.
Okay. Retired FBI agent John D'Souza said, after they declassified the UFO files, I said this to people, we're going to start seeing planes fall out the sky. Several contracts for high-speed railways have been approved. Chinese hackers, any plane that has automated systems, just like that Black Hawk helicopter, there was no flight manifest for it, no casualties reported for the helicopter except for on the passenger plane that died. They hacked the helicopter, crashed it into a passenger plane. If you want people to buy your train tickets, if you want people to ship government money to build these very, very expensive railways make them scared to fly on planes.
And that Black Hawk they showed months earlier, that was by Lockheed Martin, that was a self-flying Black Hawk.
If you don't like the smell of smoke, date someone who doesn't smoke. Don't waste time trying to change someone who doesn't want to change. If you're looking for peace and stability, choose someone who's mature and steady.
The new documentary, The Age of Disclosure, 34 senior U.S. officials, including current Secretary of State Marco Rubio, discuss an alleged 80-year cover-up of non-human intelligent life. The film suggests that global powers have attempted to reverse engineer alien technology. These officials report unexplained phenomena over military installations, implying that the government may have concealed evidence of extraterrestrial encounters. Rubio states, "We've had repeated instances of something operating in the airspace over restricted nuclear facilities, and it's not ours, and we don't know whose it is." The documentary reveals that some officials have seen non-human craft and beings firsthand, highlighting the potential dangers